Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Unboxed. So glad that you're joining us today. We're going to continue our conversation about the mature leadership of Jesus. I have come to believe, as I shared before, that Jesus was the most emotionally mature leader the world has ever experienced. When I say Jesus was emotionally mature, I mean that he was very well defined. He knew who he was. And I won't say very well defined. He was perfectly defined. He knew who he was. One of the things you have to understand, talking about emotional maturity and why Jesus stands out, is that in emotionally immature or highly anxious organizations and families, which is where Jesus spent most of his time, in emotionally immature and highly anxious organizations and families, they organize themselves to accommodate the most immature member among them. And so when you look at Jesus, he is operating in a very highly anxious system. He is operating in a very emotionally immature system. So what I want you to do is I want you to stick around and we're going to unbox the leadership of Jesus. You don't want to miss it.
I'm Dr. Robert Davis, family life educator and relationship coach, and welcome to Unboxed, a frank and straightforward conversation about relationships. We're going to talk about family, church, workplace, and all other types of relationships. Join me for the next few moments as we unbox the power and potential of relationships and help you to live your best life.
All right. Again, before we get started, please make sure that you like, subscribe, and share. So you're wondering, why am I wearing a biking jersey and an exercise shirt underneath? My son and I just finished climbing Mount Evans. It is the tallest mountain in the United States that you can drive to the top of, but we chose not to drive. We chose to hike up the top of it and almost kill myself. I'll tell you more about that another time when I tell you about the things I learned about leadership from mountain climbing. Okay, so we have been discussing what it means to be an emotionally mature leader. There are three things I want to tell you about emotionally mature leaders. Emotionally mature leaders are self-differentiated. All right. In other words, they know this is who I am, and they're clear about this is who I am. Emotionally mature leaders are principle oriented. In other words, they're able to tell you this is what I believe. And emotionally mature leaders are goal directed. In other words, they're able to tell you this is what I will do. This is what I will not do. So the last time we discussed how Jesus was self-differentiated, how he was clearly able to say, this is who I am. So clear that he was able to say, I am who I am. And so today we're going to unbox how Jesus was also a principle-centered, a principle-oriented leader. In other words, he was able to clearly articulate, this is what I believe. And there was no incongruency between what he said he believed and how he lived his life. There was perfect harmony there. Jesus was a principle-oriented leader, a principle-centered leader. He was able to say, this is what I believe. We've been exploring John chapter 8. We started the last time by exploring John chapter 8 to understand how emotional maturity was revealed in the life of Jesus. Jesus said, John chapter 8, I am the light of the world. And I believe that whoever follows me will not walk in darkness. Now, notice what he said. I am. That's telling you who he is. I am the light of the world. So he was a self-differentiated leader, but then also he was a principle-centered leader, which means he was able to say, this is what I believe. He said, I believe that whoever follows me will not walk in darkness. You see, what I believe is born out of who I am. And who I am ought to be demonstrated by what I believe. So when I say what I believe, I'm not talking about my theological beliefs, my theoretical orientation, or my philosophical ideology. I'm talking about what I believe at the core of my being. And again, too often we do not explore what we believe at the core of our being. We haven't actually sat down and wrote it out. I was telling my son the other day that God had 10 commandments that were universal, that applied to every human being on the planet, very clear about what he believed and about how he governs himself in relationships. And I didn't tell it to my son. I actually was talking to my 14-year-old daughter when I shared that with her. And so what is it? And I want to ask you as a leader, I want to ask you just as a person, what are the core beliefs that you have? And don't rattle off to me what your church has taught you since you were a child. I'm talking about in the core of who you are. What is it that you believe? For instance, if someone says, I am an honest person, so you say you're an honest person, then what do you believe? Tell me how that honesty is revealed in what you believe. And here's just a little quick, simple one I'm going to throw at you very quickly. I believe, so I am an honest person. That's what I am, self-differentiated. And I believe, which means now I'm principle oriented, I believe in the value of human dignity. Therefore, I believe all my interactions should be transparent, open, and truthful. I believe in being candid and sincere in all verbal and nonverbal communications. Did you see how I took who I am? I'm an honest person, and then begin to unbox that to explore what I believe. And you see that there's not an incongruency between the two. Look at Jesus's leadership. I want you to do it. Look at Jesus' leadership. Jesus was very secure and confident about what he believed. I am the light of the world. That's who I am. And I believe that whoever follows me will not walk in darkness. I'm going to say that again. I am the light of the world. That's what makes Jesus's leadership so powerful. Is there was no incongruency. There was no, there was not the Jesus in the marketplace and the Jesus in the synagogue, the two separate things. There was not the Jesus when he was alone with his friends and the Jesus when he was, in the public scrutiny. He was consistent because he knew who he was. He had worked out and had developed a set of clear principles, a clear articulation. I'm sorry, I got the principles for, but he could clearly articulate who he was in the group, who he was apart from the group. Very clear about that. But you know what else he could do? He could also clearly articulate what he believed. And the two always walked hand in hand. I am the light of the world, and I believe that whoever follows me will not walk in darkness. And so I want to end today. We're going to make this shorter than usual. I want to end today by asking you a simple question. Do you know who you are? And do you know what you believe? Have you really sat down? And this is what we're going to be talking about a lot next week. Have you sat down and really sketched out what your core belief system is? Every human being ought to do this. Every human being ought to have a series of belief statements that they have written out, that they have thought out, that they have actually seen where they struggle to apply it, where it is difficult in different circumstances and situations to live it out. Really put some thought into it. Because as I close, great leaders are great thinkers. Great leaders are great thinkers. And the first thing they think about is, who am I? What do I believe? And how will I live my life? I'm so glad that you've chosen to be with us. I hope that you have an awesome weekend, and I look forward to coming back as we continue to unbox the power and the potential of your leadership, and to unbox the power and the potential of every relationship. Have a great day.
Seasoned with Grace, Unboxed also provides healthy relationship training and leadership development for businesses, churches, and community organizations. For a free consultation to discuss your team's needs, please contact us at our website at swg-unboxed.org. That's swg-unboxed.org.